everybody, this is Caitlin here, and welcome to a second video for Force of Will on Card Game Wednesday. Now, originally I had recorded the video that I posted this morning last night, and I had scheduled it and whatnot for this morning, thinking, oh, there we go, that's today's video done and dusted, I don't need to worry about it. Well, I wake up this morning, and Force of Will have dropped this huge news bomb concerning the rulers for the starter decks coming out in September for this new Valhalla cluster. So then I woke up and I was like, oh, thanks Force of Will. You couldn't have dropped this news maybe yesterday morning, you know, when I was making a video and planning it and whatnot. And I didn't want to leave like it to a whole week till next week for me to cover this, because by then the news would be a little bit stale. So I thought, you know what, it's fine. I will record another video today, and hopefully you guys are still interested in the previous video, because it still was like a topic for debate about talking about whether or not having all the rulers in the starter decks was good for the game as opposed to having them in the boxes. But today we are going over all the information that came out pretty early this morning in regards to the characters and what the kind of general theme for actually all of these rulers are. Now, we only have artwork to go off of and some indication as to maybe key skills or maybe effects that some of these rulers and whatnot will have, or their resonators and chants will do. We don't have actual full-on text as to what the rulers themselves specifically do, or any of their stats or anything like that. But I'm going to break it down for you guys, and hopefully you can see maybe if something catches your eye. I also like how I actually predicted a couple of the things that were on this list. Not like outright, not all of them I got right, but I got a couple of them that actually seem to be included. So we're going to start off here with our light, and for light we're starting off with the country of the sun, Minerva. So the way that it's working out is that the world of New Valhalla, which is this new cluster, is created by the gods of the original Valhalla, and within this new world the 10 different factions, which is the 10 different rulers, represent their chief gods, and they are fighting to unify the world. So not necessarily all of the gods themselves are still within this realm, but we're going to have some of these people fighting in their name and whatnot. And by the way guys, I will apologize in advance if you hear some noises in the background while I'm recording. I've tried to get the most quiet space in my house that I could to record, but they're doing engineering works and whatnot right outside my house, so I apologize if you maybe hear a chainsaw or something in the background. Don't worry, nobody's getting murdered. It is just basically they're doing roadworks outside my house, which is a bit of a bummer. But we're starting off here with the country of the sun, Minerva. And the information that it comes here with, it says, Minerva's chief god is Odin, and the ruler that carries out the divine will is Brunhild. So Brunhild is maybe the ruler for this. We're not quite sure who they are yet. The base used for this faction is Norse mythology, particularly the humans and Valkyries that serve under Odin. So each one kind of has like a different mythology or kind of different theme going with it, which I really like. The symbol of the country is the sun itself. It is said that as long as the warriors of this country brandish the symbol of the sun, they can fight without fear of dying. The cards themselves have very little features and are low cost, meant to be utilised to create a wide, powerful army. Additionally, the blessings of the sun protect Minerva's warriors, granting them immunity from death. Now, I'm not quite sure what this means in regards to actual combat or in regards to actual game, like mechanics and whatnot, but it seems very interesting. So on one side we have the sun represented by Odin and everything, and this seems to be like the kind of idea of like a swarm deck because everything is low cost. Moving on, we have like it's kind of mirror to it because we have the moonlit paradise, lunar heaven. Lunar Heaven's chief god is Zeus, and its ruler is the were-rabbit Atom Sekhart, which I believe is the rabbit who showed up at the end of Winds of the Ominous Moon, because it says here, using Greek mythology as a base, angels as well as were-rabbits created by Zeus are featured. At the end of Winds of an Ominous Moon, or Winds of the Ominous Moon, Atom Sekhart invited Kaguya to this world, and together they saved Lunar Heaven from the brink of destruction. Over 100 years have passed since then, causing the event to be remembered as a myth. So it looks like Kaguya in particular went with Atom. No idea where Feasting went to, because he did seem to be talking to Feasting as well in some of the card art that we saw, so we're not quite sure yet where Feasting has turned up or whether or not she's still here. But it seems to be that Kaguya did help him, and whether or not she's still sticking around in this new world is a mystery so far. This faction has many flying resonators that are difficult to block. Lunar Base's moon grants divine protection, giving life, recovery, barrier, and other such defensive benefits. So we might be seeing a bit of drain, a little bit of barrier, and some other things to help protect these angels and whatnot. Nice to see the angels are making a small comeback and seem to be working with the were-rabbits. So that's a nice little 2 ones there for light. And then going on to fire here, we have City of Mirage Sandora. Sandora's chief god is Atom, and his ruler is Isis. Using Egyptian mythology as a base, which is something that I was actually kind of keen to see in Force of Will, various deities as well as creatures living in the desert are featured. Fitting for the fire attribute, this faction specialises in dealing damage, obviously because it's fire, particularly in the way of runes. The Resonators featured also support this archetype in a variety of ways, so it seems like Sandora in particular likes to rely on runes. How this is going to come about, we don't know yet, but we'll probably need to wait and see until we get more information on runes and whatnot. And then next up for fire is the land of fiery ambition, Kunlun or Kunlun. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that. Kunlun's chief god is Genshi Tensen, and its ruler is Fu Shi. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Using Chinese mythology as a base, humans, beasts, particularly tigers, and dragons are featured here. The main strategy of this faction is to use humans and tigers to start the fight, paving the way for the dragons to descend and finish it. Only Fu Shi, the king of Kunlun, is truly capable of controlling the dragons. So a nice little bit of Chinese mythos there for the rest of the fire. And now this one is one that I'm really excited for, because this is one I actually called initially when I was doing my analysis of the starter deck poster. The Knight's Castle in the Sky, Skyround. Skyround's chief god is Deus Ex Machina. I wonder where we've heard that before. And its ruler is Arthur. Featured in this faction are machines and androids, as well as the Knights of the Round Table from King Arthur's legend. This time, however, the Knights have been mechanized. The massive control system governing Skyround is called Merlin. So this time round, we've got Knights of the Round Table coming back, but they're actually going to be machines and androids, which I actually called, and I'm really excited to see. And it looks like they're going to be in the blue attribute, which is kind of interesting. Many cards that place 100/100 counters are used, as well as many effects that benefit from having these counters. There are also effects that reward you for dismantling these counters, but be wary not to dismantle too much or your resonators may fall apart. Kind of interesting how it seems to be building with the mechanic of these things are machines, they're building up upon themselves, but if you take away too much, then it might actually hurt them more than help them. And then next up we have Forest of the Lost and Misty Woods. Misty Woods' chief god is Loki, and the ruler is Loki as well. So Loki seems to be the only god to have stuck around since the original Valhalla. Loki is the instigator who tricked Valhalla's gods into waging war previously. Before Valhalla was destroyed, Loki escaped to this world and remains here still. The main race of this faction is fairy tales, as well as a few mythological beasts from Norse legend. So it's kind of cool that Loki is going to be in control of fairy tales this time round. We saw a couple of fairy tales from Rhea Cluster, but not too many, so I'm kind of excited to see them under this new banner. It is going to be water, so it's kind of interesting how Loki has moved from being a darkness kind of ruler, resonator, to a water one now, which is kind of bizarre. The cards featured here are an erratic group that rely on awakening effects, so this ones are going to be particularly for awakening. If one can manage to control this wild bunch, they will be met with great success. There are also many draw effects, because obviously it's blue, included. For this faction, a quantity over quality strategy might be the best way to go. So again, implying a little bit of swarm strategy here for your fairy tales and your Norse mythology. And then this one is something I'm really excited for, because what did I say in my creatures I wanted to appear? I wanted cat people, and I have been duly rewarded by the village of the Spirited Away, Kuga. Kuga's chief god is Basset, and its ruler is Hanzo. Oh my god, is Hanzo coming from Overwatch? Using traditional Japanese worldview as a base, cat, ninjas, and yokai are featured here. Cat people are here in Force Will, guys. I called that coming, and I'm just so proud of myself that I managed to get that. The phrase spirited away is a phenomenon where a person disappears and is thought to have been hidden by the gods. In a similar manner, Kuga village is hidden from the world and is only enterable through a hole that appears at a special time. Kind of similar to the secluded elven village, I think. The main race is cat ninjas, and as such, many of the cards feature the cat ninjas' special techniques and tools. In general, Hanzo is a good balanced ruler who is a jack of all trades but a master of none. Kind of funny there. Playing him will be a test of the player's own skill. I just love this artwork for the cat ninjas. It's just so cute, and they are so small, but they're wielding the massive shuriken. It just looks amazing. I can't wait to see more from these little itty bitty cat ninjas. And then next up we have the Forgotten Sanctuary, Lost Isles. The Lost Isles chief god is Shiva, and its ruler is Chamimi, which is kind of cool. Using Indian mythology as a base, more yokai, beasts, and the Mimi tribe are featured here. The Mimi tribe are capable of speech but carry an odd speech inflection where each phrase they say ends in me, and other similar phrases. So they're kind of like, reminds me a little bit of the Watapon from Xenoblade Chronicles, a little bit like that. The islands of the Lost Isles are abundant with unexplored nature and are full of rare, never before seen beasts. This faction is the type to solve problems through raw force. If a wall is before them, they don't walk around, they charge on through. One must be careful of the beasts the Mimi tribe use, as they have a tendency to run wild. If one is able to reel in the power of the Mimi tribe and their beasts, the victory awaits. I really like these little creatures though, because the artwork here kind of makes me think of like, sort of like an elf kind of crossed with some kind of like troll with like a sheep. The kind of hairdo and the horns are giving me like a real sheep vibe or whatever. It's kind of cute. I really like it. And then next up, going into darkness, we have the ruins of never-ending rain ruins. Rain ruins chief god is Satan and its ruler is Lucifer. Hey ho, we've got Lucifer making a comeback. The main races featured here are the fallen angels and demons. A bit more demon support coming in here, if I could even speak. There are some humans scattered through, but only devil worshippers and religious fanatics. This faction holds a deep hatred for the angels, so maybe a little bit of rivalry going on here. This faction excels at hand disruption, the thing that darkness is really good at, aiming to whittle away your opponent's choices. Once your opponent is weakened enough, the demons appear to finish them off, which is very nice. And then finally, for our last bunch, we have the Bottomless Chasm of Death, the Abyss. And this is also another one that I kind of called here. The Abyss's chief god is Hell, and its ruler is Lick. I kind of felt that the kind of skeletal rope-looking dude was something to do with like the Lich King or something like that. Before Lich became the king of the undead, he was a pure and noble monk. Due to Hell's plotting, he was murdered and revived into the form he is now. This faction mainly features skeletons, zombies, that I called, and other such undead. The Abyss is connected to another world, but as one's life force is drained the closer one nears, the details of where it may lead remains unknown. The undead creatures of the Abyss have low fighting power, but keep coming back from the dead, so I'm thinking maybe some kind of, what's the word? It's not reincarnation. It's, I can't remember the name of it, but is it Reanimator? Reanimator, I think, is the kind of mechanic. As such, they can be used freely with no regards for their safety. And then at the bottom here, it's just like, that does it for our explanations, yada yada yada. There's still so much they want to tell us, but we have to wait until another time. And we need to look forward to when they are starting official spoilers and whatnot, because this is just an initial glimpse into New Valhalla. Now that is a lot of information to take in, guys, and I hope you were able to follow along with me there as I went through each of the different factions. Going off it here, the ones that I am actually particularly interested in, just from a brief glance over, this is just me thinking, I quite like the sound of Sundora because I love Egyptian mythos. I love that, and I've been kind of hoping that we made a small return to it in Force of Will, because we got some cards that were kind of hinting to it, but we never really got like a full kind of Egyptian support. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really interested in the Knights in the Round Table, the android ones. That seems really interesting, as well as these Loki-controlled fairy tales. That seems kind of cool. And of course, I'm all for the cat ninjas and the mimes. They look really cool. I really want to check those out. They look really amazing. And also, you know, I love my boy Lucifer, your boy Satan. I really need to check them out. So I am actually quite interested in a lot of these ones. I am probably planning to try and get all 5 of the starter decks when they do eventually come out. I think it would just be best, like, to just start off with all 5 in particular, and then I can, like, kind of test about, try the different playing styles and everything, and see what I think about it in particular. But I'm pretty happy with, like, all this, like, the artwork is looking absolutely gorgeous. I'm liking it. I'm wondering then, if all of these guys, because there's, like, so many factions here, if all these guys are at war, does that mean that no one is truly the main villain? Does that mean we don't have a proper main villain? And how is the story going to go? Because we've got so many characters floating about here. Like, how is the lore going to break down? I'm not too sure here. Is there even going to be proper lore, or are we just going to get fight after fight after fight? I would think there has to be some kind of story to this war. Otherwise, it'd feel a little bit weird. But I hope we get a bit more information as to what is happening, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know who you in particular are excited about. Me, personally, I like Sundora, I like Loki, I like the cat ninjas and the mimes. They look all pretty cool. Let me know which faction you think that you're going to support, guys. And until next time, I will see you all later. This video was made possible thanks to patrons such as Alucard and Craig McCutcheon.